Springtime is the wonderful time of year when the flowers are starting to bloom and the birds are starting to sing. Wait, what? These are chickens. They don't sing. Chickens cluck. Yeah, anyway. The days are getting longer and the temperatures are getting warmer. And that urge to get in the garden and start planting really wells up inside us. But getting the garden started can't be that hard, can it? Well, that's one way of getting a garden started. But what about soil samples, and tillage, and compost, and mulch, and fertilizer, and planting, and transplanting, and weeding, and pest control, and herbicides, and harvesting, and preserving, and everything else that goes along with it? Well, every bit of that is important, and it all has a place in the family garden. And we will try to cover each one of those topics in due time. But the purpose of this video is to go ahead and get our soil prepared so we can start planting. So let's get to it. Because we did our deep tillage in the fall of the year, breaking up the soil is done simply by pulling an all-purpose plow through the garden. Here we're using a 1973 Ford 7000 to pull our all-purpose plow through our garden spot. Ripping the ground in this manner breaks the crust that developed on the topsoil over the winter. It also buries a lot of the weeds and grasses that have grown while the garden was sitting fallow since our last harvest. Once the ground is broken up, it's time to start spreading our composted mulch. To spread our composted mulch, we'll be using a Ford 6610 tractor to pull a New Holland 520 spreader. Our composted mulch is made up of wood chips, both pine and hardwood. We get our wood chips from several local tree services. Instead of having to pay to dispose of the wood chips at the local landfill, most tree services are more than happy to give the chips to someone who lives in the area where they're working. Some of these wood chips have been composting for about 12 months, while others have been composting for more than 10 years. We load our composted mulch into our spreader using a 1990 Ford 5610 tractor, equipped with a New Holland 7210 front end loader. Once the spreader is loaded, we drive into the garden and engage the PTO. The beaters on the back of the spreader do a great job at breaking up any clumps that may be in our composted mulch. It also does a good job in distributing the mulch evenly across our garden. Now that we have a good layer of composted mulch spread on our garden spot, it's time to work that in with the topsoil. We do this with a disc harrow being pulled by our Ford 7000. We include a heavy drag behind the harrow to smooth the ground after it's been disked. And now that our soil has been loosened up, it's time to build our seed beds. This year we're using plastic to cover our seed beds. We're using this for weed control as well as to assist in retaining moisture in our soil. In the event the summer turns off dry, we're including a 1-inch soaker hose underneath the plastic, which will be connected to a well located a short distance from our garden spot. Now that we have our organic mulch applied and worked into the ground, our seed beds made and covered, and our soaker hose installed, we're ready to start planting.
Thank y'all so much for watching. We really appreciate it. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content, click right up here on the subscribe button and turn your notifications on so you can see when we upload videos. And of course, we encourage you to get involved in the comment section, ask us questions, and give us suggestions for future videos. So until next time, thank you.